Hi everyone, welcome back to another video where we try to develop our English conversational skills. I will talk today with you guys about anthropology. Anthropologia, okay? Adjust the speed or turn on the subtitles if that makes sense to you, ok? Se faz sentido para você. Muda a velocidade, acerta a legenda. If that makes sense to you, okay? Make sure you are practicing and make sure you are repeating, né? Certifique-se, né? Make sure que tá repetindo, fala em voz alta, toma nota das coisas, né? A escrita é uma boa ferramenta para a gente aprender. Falar em voz alta é uma melhor ainda. So make sure you are taking notes and repeating the things that are new for you and that makes sense for you to practice more, okay? So, as I said, como eu disse, as I said, como eu disse, today we'll talk about anthropology. It's another lesson that I created to have class here with my students in my private classes, okay? So before we get started, let's just get to the definition of anthropology. Sometimes the theme, que é o tema, sometimes the theme of the lesson it's a little weird or not very clear, and anthropology, it's something that is important to define. So let's give the definition of anthropology. Anthropology is a social science that studies human societies, cultures, and their development over time. It seeks to understand the diversity of human behavior and social structures across different cultures and throughout history. Gosto muito dessa palavra, hein? Throughout. Throughout significa durante todo, né? Through, que é a palavra através, essa já é mais famosa, popular entre os alunos que estudam inglês, né? Porque ela é escrita de uma forma estranha, pronunciada de uma forma estranha e ela é muito comum. Through. Through significa através. Pega na legenda como que é escrito. E throughout é durante todo alguma coisa, né? Pode ser tempo, pode ser livro, pode ser reunião, né? Throughout the year, durante todo o ano. Throughout the meeting, durante toda a reunião. E assim por diante. So anthropology is studying human societies over time. Over time é com o passar do tempo, né? Studying human societies, their development over time. Okay, so it's very interesting to understand anthropology, to study it. It's very connected with archaeology because it gives us ideas of how people were interacting with each other. And what they were producing, how they were living. It's very connected with geology because geography. It's very connected with everything because it's a relationship between people and societies, and all of the environment also affects it, né? Todo o ambiente, environment, também afeta, né? Also affects it. So it's very cool to study anthropology, and we'll continue with the first question that I asked my students was, tell me about you, like what is your culture? If we were in the future, se estivéssemos no futuro, if we were in the future and we were to study you today, what would we see? What kind of culture are you expressing, living through? Okay, so to give you an example of what kind of answer we could give on this one, because it's not very clear, like my culture, what am I doing? It's not like the Brazilian culture. No, it's not that. So, for example, me, I think my culture, my lifestyle is very much family-centered, okay? Definitely. The things that I do, my priorities are always around my family. My home with my wife and both of my kids, né? Ambos os meus filhos, ou os meus dois filhos, né? Both of my kids, both of my, legal de pegar essa também, both of my kids, and because of that, I have my work here in my school that I absolutely love, and also I think health is very much, it's a big part of my daily life, so my exercise, the things that I do, my mental health, I also try to take care with the exercise, with my work, with my family, and with the books that I read. That's also a big part of my life, and also my parents, my core family with my parents, brother and sister. So I think if you were to study me, né, if you were to study me, né, se você fosse me estudar, if you were to study me, you would see myself, you would see me just circulating around my family, studying, reading books, and working. That's what I would. That's what you would see me doing, and getting physical and mental health. Basically, that's my life. That's my culture. So I think that would be great for you guys to get a reflection. What would we see if we were to study you? Would we see what kind of hobbies do you have? Is it just work? Is it family as well? Are you happy with the kind of culture you are prioritizing nowadays? I also think it's like self-reflection. I think it's very beneficial always. And this might be a good opportunity. This might be a good opportunity. Essa pode ser uma boa oportunidade, né? This might be a good opportunity. Might pode ser usado no sentido de talvez, possa ser, né? Might be, possa ser. A good opportunity for self-reflection. It's very cool. It's very cool. The next section, I talked about the purpose. What is the purpose of anthropology? What is the goal? The target. What the purpose is propósito. What's the purpose of it? Why do we need anthropology? It's really cool. I love it. Let's understand why. So anthropology can explain the origins of our culture, why we eat specific foods, go to specific places, celebrate specific dates, etc. It can show us that social structures and behaviors can be different. It can open our minds to different ways of experiencing life and appreciating other cultures. So I think that's really cool because you understand that everything you do today has a history to it. There's a reason, a historical reason why you are doing the things you are doing today. It's not an accident. It didn't just appear out of nowhere. Out of nowhere é do nada, né? It didn't just appear out of nowhere. Não apareceu do nada, né? So the things we do today, there is an origin to them. Okay, so it's very cool to understand that, and then you can I'll talk more in the future, in the next slides of the class. So the question here is a little different. It's what culture do you admire? So forget your own culture, where your local culture where you live, but what is another culture that you admire? So it's very cool because today we live in the era of information. We have access to any country in the world, a regular person in any part of this planet. So if you are on TikTok or Instagram, you can see like a regular guy in, I don't know, Morocco, Afghanistan, a family in Indonesia, and then you can see how they are living normal life. So nowadays, and also, you know, like the books and movies and series that are bigger, more popular, that are showing the biggest parts of different cultures across the planet, worldwide, ao redor do mundo, né? So nowadays, basically, we have access and we can appreciate, we can study and know and discover how people are living differently in different parts of the world. So it's very nice to, maybe you are naturally drawn to a culture, né? Drawn seria atraído, né? Você é naturalmente atraído, né, para uma outra cultura. You're naturally drawn to another culture. When I was a child, I absolutely loved Italy. There is no specific reason for me to do so. When you are an adult, it makes sense. It's Italy, food, people, places, everything. But when you're a child, it's not. I was just naturally drawn. And nowadays we can still experience that. Nós ainda podemos experienciar isso, né? Sentir isso, ter isso, né? We can still experience that when we are interacting with different cultures. So I asked my students that. So what is one culture that you admire? I had many different answers, but the most common is the Japanese culture. People really admire, né? Admirar, é legal essa palavra de praticar, hein? Admire. Admire. People really admire the Japanese culture. They talk about how disciplined they are, how respectful they are, and they mention people around them, how much they respect family, and how they clean the stadiums in World Cup. That was a famous thing. Nobody forgets that. Everybody always mentions that. So that is something that people talked about. I also asked people, like, do you have an ancient culture that you admire? Because I love to talk about ancient civilizations in the past and history. Ancient seria muito antiga, né? Então, ancient civilizations or ancient cultures, like, I don't know, Rome, Greece, Egypt, we have, or even ancient Chinese, né? ancient Asia, Russian. There are many cultures, ancient cultures that are not very much around today, but they are the basis of our culture. So it's very cool for us to I don't know, to reflect about them. And on this one, people told me Egypt, Rome, and also Greece. Yeah, I think it's the classic. Everybody likes these ones, I guess. And then I talked about everyday life. Everyday life, quando a gente usa a palavra everyday, junta a gente, não everyday de todo dia, mas everyday life, você transforma em um adjetivo a palavra everyday. Uma palavra só, hein? Everyday. E daí fica do dia a dia, do cotidiano, do normal. Everyday life é a vida do dia a dia, a vida cotidiana, né? So when I'm not going to read the text, but what I talked about on this one is that anthropology can make you understand why you do these everyday life things. For example, the religion that you practice. Why do you practice this religion and not another one? Why do you use a t-shirt and not something else? Why do you have a garden in your house and not something else? And then maybe if you understand why, like the origins or the history of something, maybe you can understand that I can do it differently. You know, I don't need to do this just because everybody was doing that, or you understand the progress of it, the development of it, and then, yeah, you know what, I'm going to do something else. It's really cool. So what I talked to my students was the last sentence, né? A última frase era therefore it can make us free from standards, né? Tem palavras legais aí, né? O therefore significa portanto. Bem legal da gente conseguir usar essa palavra e incorporar ela no nosso vocabulário, né? Therefore it can make us free from standards. Free from something significa livre de alguma coisa. E nesse caso é standards, né? Que é livre de padrões, né? Therefore it can make us free from standards, né? Portanto, pode nos fazer livre, né? Nos libertar dos padrões, okay? Therefore, it can make us free from standards. I love that. It's really cool. And then you can, I don't know, experience life differently. And that's what I ask my students, like, what is something that many people do, but you don't like? So when you look around you and you see your society and your culture, what is popular, normal, that everybody's doing, but you really don't like it. So you don't share this particular taste with the people around you. I had many different answers here. I had social media, going to the gym, going out at night, which I love. Should not share this. Good answer. Boa resposta, good answer. I'm not sure I remember exactly other ones right now, but basically these were the most popular. Social media, going to the gym, maybe some diets people talked about, but that is something interesting to do, for you to look around you and see how people talk about music, like funk, doramas, people talked about it. We have these trends, né? These trends, que são essas coisas em alta, em moda, né? We have these trends, and then maybe some people look at them and they don't really see a lot of sense to it, okay? So it was really cool. I really love anthropology. It's part of everyday life. We can understand our own history, and I just love talking about it. We just talked superficially, but it's really cool for us to keep studying out there on the news and everything, and understanding history. Oh, I just love it. It makes a big impact in everyday life. Okay, but that's it about anthropology. Don't forget to make sure you share this video with other people that are studying English, né? Certifique-se de compartilhar com outros que estão estudando inglês. This video can help a lot of people, I'm sure of that, and that would be great if we could help more people, okay? Guys, thank you very much for watching. I hope this has helped you develop your English skills, but also the content of your conversations, o conteúdo das suas conversas. I think it's really cool for us to do that as well in our society of today, to enhance the content of our conversations, okay? So thank you very much, and I'll see you on the next one, okay? Bye-bye.